What up, y'all? Turn it down. Welcome to Hotep-ish. Intelligent-ish talk. Intelligent shit talk. Where we come to you live every Thursday, 8 to 9 p.m. We got some special announcements coming up at towards the end of the show. But yeah, we are here. And in here, I have my special guest, funny man, and a better human being, Mr. Al Green. What up, dog?
Man, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Doing all right, man. So I'm glad to be here. I'm glad we could get two real brothers in the same building at the same time.
Yes, sir. I want to thank y'all for tuning in live to my watch party. Go to my page right now, Hotep-ish, and you will see this stream live. Please do that. Go to Hotep-ish page. Go to my page for y'all who joined in. What's up, Jai? Tune in, and we're gonna be talking about the Becoming movie review because it's a lot of good things that was in that.
Oh, it was a beautiful movie.
Yeah.
You know, I know we got the Michelle Obama lovers out there waiting like the beehive for us. You know, they think we get ready to talk negative about Michelle. They waiting for us.
Yeah, they waiting on us. They wait. Wait, say that again. You call them what?
They like the beehive.
The beehive.
Yeah. You know, black folk, we like to belong to something.
We like to belong to something.
We like to belong to something.
So, before we get started into the movie review, I want to talk a little bit about just, you know, who Al is. Al is just another brother like me that got opinions on shit that's going on that we don't get microphones in the mainstream. So our points of view put it like this: it ain't nothing you heard from Van Jones. Is that safe?
That's safe to say.
It's nothing that Michael X. Dyson and Don Lemonade gonna talk about, right?
We're not gonna turn off the street once we get all the way to the end. We're gonna keep going.
So, for those of you who haven't seen it, you know there will be spoilers. So it's a documentary. So
right.
If you get a spoiler from a documentary, just don't even listen to it.
Most of them watched it and they still don't know what they spoiled about. They were spoiled and don't know it.
They were spoiled and don't know it.
They don't know it.
Man, I want to thank y'all for tuning in live on Hotep-ish fan page, acceleratedradio.net, iHeartRadio, and all the other platforms we are streaming to live at once. But Al, man, so let's get into it. Becoming movie. I'm gonna start off with what I like, and then I want you to tell me what you liked about it.
All right, that sounds fair enough.
Okay, that sounds fair to you?
Yeah.
All right. One thing I did like was it showed her as a real person. You know, it showed, because we didn't get it introduced to Michelle Obama until she was the next president's wife. Right. You know what I mean? So we didn't really know her like that when he was a senator, because Barack was only a senator for 2 years. So we didn't really know her like that. People in Chicago probably did, but we didn't. And so we got introduced to her while she was on top. Mm-hmm. So the movie got to show her human side.
Right.
It got to show who she is as a person. Mm-hmm. You got to see her mom. I didn't know her mom lived in the White House the whole time. My wife told me she was there the whole time.
I just assumed because it was a black family. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, we got an extra room, Mom. You got the crib in the corner, down in the corner. Yeah, so we got to see Michelle Obama as a woman. Another thing that I liked about the movie, we got to see her brother. Yeah. You know, I didn't know much about her brother. So we got to see, their relationship. We got to see, moms and, how the dad was around. And that was some good shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got to see her relationship with some of the Secret Service. And I'm going to start off by saying Michelle Obama, to me, has always seemed to be very charismatic. Yeah. She seems like a nice lady. Yeah. She seems like if you meet her, she just be like, hey, what up? You know what I mean?
Right. Michelle Obama, she's the one that brought that underbite back. You know what I'm saying? Like, she made it cool for them. Hey, them women, if they had an underbite, you was like, man, I want to get me a Michelle Obama.
Hey, what you saying? She made that groper jaw famous. Yeah. that pelican mouth.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So yeah, she had those things going for her. Another thing that I liked about it, it really got to see, that she's a mother.
Right.
She has mother concerns. Yeah. You know what I mean? And she had 2 little babies. Mm-hmm. Bush's kids are, for the most part, already alcoholics by the time he got in office.
Yeah, I think they talked about that, too. They were grandkids at
yeah. So, you don't think about no shit like that.
Yeah, that was their second time.
He said that was their second time around. And so, that was some of the cool things I liked about the movie. What are some things you liked about it?
I liked the way it showed what we can be.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I like the plight that it showed coming from south side of Chicago, the determination. I like the way it also showed how Michelle in her own right was her own person with her own career.
Yeah.
And when it came time to it, I don't want to say played the back role, but she played the role that she needed to propel the Obamas to what they were by being, she had to stay at home, be the mother, and then be the backbone actually to what her husband was doing, because you can't go through I couldn't see a single man trying to be the president without, or when you don't have a solid woman, if you're doing it right. I mean, like, I don't want to say because Trump, I don't know what he's doing, but
yeah,
Obama had a real woman, a real spine behind him, a real backbone.
Yeah, he did. He did.
So I loved all that. I loved the way that she's very down to earth, and they showed that she's vulnerable. She, let you see that side of her, not just It started off with the first scene when she was with her Secret Service agents. She was shooting the shit with them, talking about, hey, they're gonna take y'all out first, so I gotta know, which is true. So
yeah,
I definitely loved all that. She got a little swag too.
She do.
Yeah, I love that.
And she got a fat ass.
Yeah, she do.
I know you the first lady, and ain't no dude out there. Well, Michelle Obama's off limits to the world.
Well, we've been having, we ain't really been having. We've been having first grandmas. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, she really wasn't the first of my life. She's the first ever pretty woman in the White House.
Yeah.
Because Hillary looked like Rosie from the Jetsons. And I just, even when Hillary was younger, she looked haggardly.
And then they had no scandals. Yeah. So I love
well, that's while in office, there's been some stuff coming up lately.
Well,
you heard about what's going on with the gun running down in Mexico.
Yeah, but that's not really considered a scandal in the White House.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, that's just business as usual.
Yeah, that's just like a police chase in L.A.
Yeah.
Come every week. I feel like we tune in for that.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, man. So you had all that stuff going on with Michelle Obama. So, what are some things that you saw in the movie that tell the people more about just your overall what it's about, what it's about, and what your overall impression was.
Well, I think it was a direct back behind the scenes look of the Obamas' 8 years in the office, and also the years afterwards, like when she goes on her book tour and things like that, and it opened up to what they went through, and then also how they felt. That's where what I really liked about how did she feel during these times? How did she feel afterwards? How did they? And I look at it and say, if that's how she felt, that's pretty much how her husband probably felt.
Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't say that they were polar opposites or nothing. So
yeah,
I do like that, and I like the way that they were very cognizant of what was going on and what it meant to have a black family in the White House.
Yeah, to be that moment.
They weren't up there stuck on stupid.
Yeah.
Which
they're very aware.
Very aware of who they are why they're there and what it means.
And she kept bringing up a good point, and and this is a point that a lot of black people live through. Is when you're the first black person or the only black person in any particular environment, you sort of feel a low key responsibility for everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? And she kept talking about that, and and we as the people who voted for them and who liked them, we saw that part too.
Right.
And I think that's the part that where people who, when we get critical of the Obamas, that's where they get hung up.
Man, I'm gonna say something that's probably not gonna be popular or understood.
Okay.
But I'll put it just like this: I hate Trump, but I ain't mad at him.
Explain.
I love the Obamas, but I'm mad at them.
Okay. Explain that. Explain that, please.
I don't like anything Trump stands for. I don't like his personality. I don't like his past business deals. I don't like the way he talks to people. Nothing. I don't like the way he runs shit. Mm-hmm. But he plays exactly to his fan base, and I ain't mad at him.
Yeah.
He's basically getting up there telling you, I don't give a fuck what I said, how I said it, when I said it. I'm going to do the shit that's best for me and my friends.
In other words,
you better get in where you fit in. I don't give a fuck.
In other words, Trump is like Patrick Beverly or Dennis Rodman.
Right.
When he on your team, you fuss with him.
Like right now, he's like, niggas say they thinking about not voting for me. Fuck, I'm gonna give these niggas 2 stimulus checks, and you bring your ass to them polls and deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my fan base riled up again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give them $2,400 or whatever, some unemployment, and that's it.
Yeah. So what do you mean about the Obamas? So you love them, but explain that part to me.
The Obamas, it seemed like they wanted all the accolades and none of the responsibilities when it came to the black community. And with Becoming, it let me know that they were very aware. It ain't like they weren't aware of what we going through, but they still stayed on code. Mm-hmm. They stayed on code. They never had that. I don't give a fuck. We niggas.
Yeah.
I'm a black. We never got that.
We never got that.
And I know some people are gonna say, he's a president to all people. No, Trump's president to his people,
and he proving it.
And he letting you know it. You better get in where you fit in, or you're gonna be just fucked up.
And Bush was the same way. Right. That's how presidents
and all
are.
Other presidents were the same way. They didn't give a fuck. Right? But you get the Obamas, and we get the same. We get the same thing that black people always get, and we're like I say. We are in some kind of sick love affair with feeling good. We like feelings, not results. See, when I was a kid, I'm a '70s baby. Yeah, my parents, especially my father, he was about results. He didn't give a fuck about feelings.
Yeah,
feelings, and emotions. You put that shit to the side.
Yeah,
black people right now, we're very emotional, and we're about these feelings. And we're not paying attention to results. And Becoming, great movie. If you want to feel good, if you want to get up afterwards and feel like you can tap dance and you can heal the world, but I'm telling you that shit's gonna wear off just like it do every Sunday. Every Sunday after you drop your ties in there and you feel good, you sing your songs. And you go home, there's a real world waiting for you that don't give a fuck about what you
don't give
about.
A good goddamn.
They don't care shit about what you praying about.
Yeah, and so that's what some of my criticisms of Becoming. Becoming was a good documentary. It showed her going across the country. But one of the issues that stood out to me that she was going through that is something that's typical with black people. You notice she never could say black.
People of color.
It's always people of color or black and brown or minorities. Even when they got to the point to when, it's to me, like when it comes to black people, we always talking about how we get mistreated, how we get this and singled out for that. But a lot of us are afraid to even say our names, without diluting it down. What did Beyonce say? Say my name. Say my name.
Right.
If you can't say my name, then can I take you serious?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it just is like, okay, Michelle. Then she got to a point to me, this one scene, the one moment in the documentary, to me summed up the Obama presidency. One day.
Oh, I know.
I think you know what day I'm going to.
Hey, cause that's they look. They just danced you all to sleep with that bullshit, and they dropped it on niggas, went right over it, then gave you the blame, and kept on going.
And kept on going.
And I guarantee you, all these people that say it was a great movie, they didn't even pay attention.
Let me break down. This is a joint that me and Al gonna smoke when this shit.
That's right. We're gonna smoke this shit.
But anyway, when it was let me explain to the audience that moment. That moment was, they said this in the morning. We went to a funeral of a lot of men and women who were shot.
Oh, you want to lead up?
You notice that part? Go ahead.
Let's lead up to that part.
You go ahead.
Let's lead up to that part.
Go ahead.
The movie starts off with I think a selection from Kurt Franklin, right?
Yeah.
We already in church, and that's what black folk love. We love that church shit.
Uh-huh.
We like to feel good.
Uh-huh.
Then at about the 34-minute mark, they introduce our favorite two little black women that can't do no wrong. That's Gail and Oprah.
Oh yeah.
Now the first thing she's doing when she's doing the interview with Gail, and she was talking about, and all this to me is like, we're gonna reel you in.
Okay.
They always we're gonna reel you in.
You right. The first 30 minutes of that shit was great.
Right. We're gonna reel you in with a fact. Catch you with the truth. Reel you in with some facts. And then keep you with lies.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So at the 34-minute mark, that's when she was talking about her relationship with Barack and how they met and everything. She's talking to Gail. And she was talking about Barack was late, and she says, I was thinking to myself, trifling black men always late.
Yeah, she did say that.
I'm thinking, okay, but where are we going with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Gail, important part, then Gail was like, he was a man. He was driving a yellow Yugo. Why did you end up? Gail, that's why your ass is single,
right.
Because you don't see potential in the motherfucker.
Right.
And that's why Snoop called you a dog face. Go ahead.
Then they had Barack come out on the stage, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so all this time, you feel like you in Obama.
Yeah.
You feel like you had about a cousin at this point. I'm a cousin, you know what I'm saying? You feel like I go to church with these people.
I handed you a soda at the reunion
right.
one day.
And that's when he started, quoting some Jay-Z. He said they were like Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Yeah, the go-to Negroes.
Right. He had a little rap, right? Then they talked about the family life, about how Barack was going to the gym and
she wasn't.
Like, and she said, by this time they kind of got the sisters all, yeah, we back, we little beehives, right? Mm-hmm. That's our bae or whatever, that's our girl. Mm-hmm. Then she talked about, I said, well, I got to go to the gym. Then you got the little side clap from all the women. They gone at this point, right? Then you go to the 1 hour mark.
Uh-huh.
After they've sat up there and like they put her on the road on the campaign trail and stuff, and they show you that these people don't give a fuck about you. They talked about how she dressed. They talked about how she looked. They talked about her shoulders, every single thing.
And throughout all that time, throughout the whole movie, she never said one accusatory statement to white people.
Nothing.
Go ahead.
Then that's when the stylist is introduced, and she talks about how styling the Obamas became more like a costume, where you had to present them in a way to make the public, be affectionate and want to accept them. And so now they starting to get dolled up, right? Yeah. They getting dolled up, but guess what? They were still treated like niggas.
They was.
The hate got worse, right? After the stylist. Then you get to the part you're talking about, because we've been moseyed all along. We've been to church with them. We've heard hymn numbers. We've done all them little dances. We've seen her playing the rap music on her phone. They did some regular, and
then we get to that point.
And black folks have been by the side the whole time. We've talked about the butlers and the cooks. Everybody.
The butler ain't gonna wear no. I'm with you, Michelle. The butler ain't gonna wear no tuxedo. Look like Uncle Ben around by kids. I'm with you, Michelle.
And then they showed the film they showed all the examples of the black men that had been killed. Tamir Rice, John Crawford, the people,
Eric Gardner.
Eric Gardner's.
Yeah,
so
Sandra
many,
Bland.
Right. It's just so many we can just name every week by week. We know the drill. There's always an unarmed black person being killed. Then it was they killed all the people in the church.
Well, let me get to that point. Let me
Right.
talk about that part. To me, that was the defining moment of their whole time in office. Is that one day signified all 8 years. For those who are listening, when you watch it, what's up, Chris Matthews? Thanks for listening, tuning in the chat room. Tune in right now on Hotep-ish on the Facebook page and join in the live chat. Express your opinion. Let us know what you're thinking about. Chris Matthews in the chat said, "I can't stop thinking about them curls."
We hey, curls.
Yeah.
On my curls?
No.
They talking about my curls? They talking about these curls coming out their head, baby.
Chris Matthews in the chat also said, "Gail ain't single. She got Oprah." But anyway, this moment in the movie, she says, "In the morning we woke up and we went to a church to attend the funeral of men and women who were killed in church." She didn't say black.
Hold on, this is the part where black folks started to get the Holy Ghost.
Hold on, men and women. You mean when Dylan Roof,
right,
who was a terrorist, because like when it's one of us, they'll say, "Okay, she said about Barack. Right. I thought he's another one of those black men who's always late." Yep. Okay, so if we're gonna label, it's trifling. Right. So if we're gonna throw out labels, let's throw out labels that the shooter from the Charleston massacre self-identified as. Right. He was a white supremacist. Right. He had the Rhodesian sticker flag on his vest. Right. We all know Rhodesia, now known as Zimbabwe, was the place where De Beers mining factory was, where millions of black people got killed under King Leopold. And Dylan Roof had that shit. And
I call Dylan Roof the no tomato guy.
What was that?
Because he got to shoot 13 niggas in cold blood, and the next thing that he got to say was no tomato on my Whopper.
At Burger King.
At Burger King. They took him to Burger King.
So you have these things. You have Dylan Roof that shot these black people, when Michelle Obama will not say that the white terrorists shot black people. You know what I mean? So she just made it seem like it was just a bunch of men and women got killed in church. Now, I finished mourning Barack. Then at that funeral, Barack sang Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace.
And anybody who knows me knows how much I hate that song. Black people. Amazing Grace ain't got a damn thing to do with us. Right. A slave, the person that had the good ship, Jesus, wrote that shit on the slave ship talking about his guilt. That's the they story, not ours.
They asked me at my daddy's funeral when they were asking about song selections, did I want them to sing Amazing Grace? I said, my daddy wasn't no ratchet.
Exactly. Wasn't no wretched like me.
Ratchet?
Man, shit.
He wasn't no slave.
And so we had that shit going on. So you have that. Then they finished mourning black people. After they finished talking about all these black people that got killed. Ooh, black people, I'm sorry. Condolences, black people. And then that night, they celebrated passing. Hold on, let me get
the most defining moment. She said
that night they celebrated the most defining moment of the presidency outside of the goddamn Health Care Act passed, and that was what? Gay marriage.
Gay marriage.
So, what am I saying is a microcosm of their presidency? Hold on, Al. I'm gonna get. Hold on one second.
All right.
What was the defining moment of their presidency? When it came to black people, he went to the funeral, and we got a song. When it came to them other people, they got law. And you better not tell me that shit is that it was hard to hurt. Remember where gay marriage was just in 2006?
Man.
Imposed in 2006, like 90% of America was like, no, California voted that shit down in 2008.
Right.
And this is liberal California. And so that was some hard shit to get done.
You can't even say the word faggot no more, but we get called fat every day.
I know you say fat all goddamn day.
We ain't made no progress.
So that was right there was my hook that really got me pissed off. We got a song, they got legislation.
Look, here's what they did. For the hour and 5 minutes, they just wound you in. They let you dance. They let you tour the White House. They brought you right on in. But when they started talking legislation, fuck you niggas. They lit that White House. They went from a black massacre funeral they never said the word white.
And never said black people got killed.
I watched it twice. She would always say, there's people that don't like us. What people? White people. Say it. There's white supremacists that don't like you.
Yeah.
There's still a section of this country that doesn't like us. And the what people?
Who?
Name them.
Name them.
Right? And but guess what? After you went to church, and then you went home, they showed the White House lit up in rainbows. And then she went outside. She said, now this is growth. And then the next scene, they were dancing, and she said, well, Barack and us, we were upset with black people.
Well, no, let me use her exact words. She said, we were upset with our folks.
Right.
And our folks, we know what our folks mean. And she was in a room full of black people at the time. Right. Remember, she was with them black students. And she said, well, the thing that bothered me most about the whole situation was, we had the inauguration. Trump is coming out, and it was our people who didn't get out. And it wasn't just electing Trump. It was every midterm election, Barack didn't get the Congress he needed because our folks didn't get out and vote. Hold on. I got a question, Michelle. Which folks?
Right.
I'm sure Tamir Rice would have voted for you like if he was old enough and if he lived.
Right.
I'm sure Eric Gardner voted for you. He died. He black. He in New York. Y'all won New York. I'm sure he voted for you, but I'm sorry he wasn't around to vote in the 2014 midterm because he was dead.
Right.
Because you didn't do shit about Trayvon Martin, so he just gave people license to start killing us.
Right.
And you didn't your husband didn't do a goddamn thing about it, and you mad at. But at the same time, he did things for other people, and you gonna get mad at us?
Right.
And here's one more thing that I did not like about that. History. Every time a new party takes office, the opposite party takes the House 2 years later. Every time a Democrat has replaced a Republican or a Republican replaced a Democrat, they got 2 years to do what the fuck they want to do. It happened in 94 with Bill Clinton. He came in 92 with the Democratic majority. 94, the Republicans swept the House. When Bush got in office in 2002, the Democrats swept the House and got it back. In 2010, when Obama was in office, the Republicans took the House again, and it happened again in 2018. The Democrats got the House again. Why? Because it happens every fucking 2 years after every election when a new president takes office. So how are black people, 13% of the population, supposed to change the tides of history?
Right. and it's like this. And like I say about this movie, at some point in time, black people, we have to get past the party. And I'm not talking about Democrat, Republican party. I'm talking about the fun part. I'm talking about the dance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like going to school, right? Sending your kid to school, and they done made every Friday night flight. They done made every football, basketball game, every party that they've had at the school, at home school, prom, and all that shit. And then it comes time to graduate, and they not graduate.
Yeah.
You failed. And all that shit was an extra at my house.
And it's the thing, because I don't, you had your presidency. It just as black people, I'm tired of us being the scapegoat and being the one shitted on every time one or two other people don't get their political ends, their personal thing. Like all of us get a giant shit.
The reason when people keep on wanting to say black people didn't get out and vote, no, Trump is president because America is predominantly racist.
Wait. Say it again.
Trump is president because America is predominantly racist.
Wait. Say it again.
Trump is president because America is predominantly racist.
All right, now go ahead, my brother.
And people do not want to get past that. You can blame black folks. Look, we could have had 1 million more black folks vote in California. It wasn't going to change Ohio.
It wasn't going to change Pennsylvania.
It ain't going to change Pennsylvania.
It wasn't going to change Michigan.
Right. And these people, when America, look, the same people that she said was the most growth, the LGBTQ community,
half of them voted Republican.
Right.
Half of them voted for Trump.
Because guess what? A lot of them are white.
They're white first.
Black people think that we are whatever. You have black women out here marching for women's rights with white women standing beside them who went right back and they will vote against.
And they went right back and voted for Trump.
Right, they'll go right back.
And here's the thing when it comes to that, like we as black people, we do have leverage. All that he's not the president of Black America. No, he's the leader of the Democratic Party, and black people are a third of the Democratic Party's base.
Right. Like
the Democratic Party can't win a national election without massive turnout from black people.
For as dumb as people say Trump is, this is one thing he gets. You ain't gonna make everybody happy, so guess what?
Make your people happy.
I'm gonna make my people happy.
And that's the thing. Trump didn't even win the popular vote. Hillary beat him by like 5 million votes.
Right.
But here's the thing with Hillary, going back into politics. Hillary's husband was a man who created a bill for those who are young. I got a lot of young listeners, so let me take y'all back. Some of y'all niggas wasn't even born when this happened. In 1994, there was a legislation called NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement. And what NAFTA did was it took those jobs, because Detroit had been cutting jobs since the 60s and 70s. They had been, but mostly they laid off the black people throughout the 70s and the 80s. You know what I mean? Detroit still had a pretty good stronghold here in America until Bill Clinton's North American Free Trade Agreement. And what that did was it said, okay, the United States can trade with Canada and Mexico without tariffs, without taxes. So what did Ford, GM, and all those Detroit companies do? They shut down shop in Detroit and moved to Mexico. So in Ohio, in Michigan, and then also a lot of the factories in Pennsylvania, the Rust Belt up there.
Right.
The reason why it's called the Rust Belt is because they were already starting to outsource stuff to China going back to the 70s.
Right.
That was the nail in the coffin. And Bill Clinton did that legislation. So the people Hillary's coming around, she has no solution for all these people who lost their jobs back in the 90s because of her husband's legislation. And they're like, look, fuck you.
Right.
Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, these Rust Belt states. And that's why she lost those states. And she didn't campaign in them states to promise them any kind of way of fixing up her husband's fuck-ups. That's why they lost the presidency. But for Michelle Obama and her groper fish jaw to blame us.
Right. We got none of it. It's like what the way I feel would be like if your family reunion came up and they decide it's time to eat, right? And they start fixing they start fixing the place settings, and they say, man, we're gonna go in all in. We need our bib. They put bibs and shit on niggas. And you got your fork and knife, you just said the blessing. And when they start handing out the food, they get to your plate and skip it.
And your auntie cooked it.
Right. And I'm gonna be like, I'm through with these niggas.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if we got the same last name. I'm through.
Yeah.
Why you through, Alan? Because the results.
The results.
I don't give a fuck about all the singing and dancing and shit. I care about the results. That's what my daddy used to always tell me. He didn't give a fuck about what it sounded like. Because he just tell me, man, I remember I had a bad grade in math. He told me to go up there and study for 30 minutes. He said, you need to study your ass for 30 minutes every day this semester. Mm-hmm. I went up to my room for 30 minutes.
You turned the radio on.
Yeah, I wasn't studying for 30 minutes. I thought he thought that I was studying for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Came back with the same goddamn grade, right?
Uh-huh.
I ain't get it. He didn't say shit about the grade. He said, nigga, if you tell me you studied 30 minutes and got the same shit, I'm going to wear your ass out. He said, you go up there, you study for 31 minutes or 29 minutes, but nigga, if you do the same shit and get the same result, I'm going to wear your ass out.
It's going to be a problem.
If you fail 3 times, you fail 3 times doing 3 different things. Don't do the same shit. Why do we keep doing the same? I don't give a fuck about, at the end of the day, all that singing and dancing and barbecuing and beer summits, that's extras. And I want to know about policy.
And here's the thing, like you said, like, going back to what you're talking about, like, I'm going to speak to the Voteps out there, Hotep-ish. Hotepish.com. We have our T-shirts and our masks for sale.
You said Votepish. Those are the people that they think they're going to vote themselves out.
Yeah. The reason why we call this show Hotep-ish is because a lot of these people who are on the outside, they call us black people who like our history and who pay close attention. They call us, little ashy Hoteps. All right, cool. I'll embrace that. If it's gonna make me different than somebody who votes out of tradition and says, "Oh yeah, we shall overcome," and do the same shit that ain't worked in 400 years. Yeah, we different. I'll embrace your little label. Great, because it means I'm different than you.
They still mad at me because I'm against this 5G shit.
We don't get into that. But to the voteps. The voteps are the people. I call the voteps people who vote out of tradition.
Right.
They vote because our ancestors said our ancestors got killed. Look, our ancestors got killed because they was black.
Right.
They got lynched in suits, 3-piece suits and suspenders.
Right.
Because they own businesses. Not because it's because we got lynched for all kinds of reasons. So
I think we've covered all the things you can be dressed up as to get lynched. From church shoots to jogging outfits. We've been lynched.
We've been lynching all them hoes.
Right.
And so
they even did a modern lynching in my hometown, Louisville, Kentucky. Shout out to Brianna, man, rest her soul. But they lynched her naked. Came in there, did a
what?
They did they got a no-knock warrant.
The no-knock warrant.
Right.
Yeah, no-knock raid.
She shot her
in the wrong house.
Right.
And so, I'm gonna do a quick little Hotep-ish history moment because this all ties in together. Hotep-ish history. For those people who go around and say our ancestors voted for the right for us and we are shaming our ancestors if we didn't vote, I got a question to y'all voteps. Which ancestors are you talking about? Because if it's any ancestor pre-400 years ago, they looking at you like, you letting these crackers fuck with y'all like that? Tariq, the military leader of the Moors, went in 711. That's where you get the term "Oh, thank heaven for 711." Is when the black people from northern Africa went into southern Spain and conquered Spain, the south of France, and they went into Europe and they controlled the southern parts of Europe for 700 years, from 711 to 1492. They brought in alcohol, alchemy, algebra, raised sidewalks, medicine, all those castles that you see up there. Running water, air conditioning, over 4,000 inventions that they brought into Europe, including math and the current numerical system that we have right now, because they used to using punk-ass Roman numerals that you can't do division with. You know what I mean? So we brought all that to Europe, and those are our ancestors. So if you pray to our ancestors and they say, "Oh, ancestors, you died for the right to vote," man, the people that was in the Moorish Empire looking down at us like, y'all getting dominated by the Visigoths, by the Franks, by these them was our bitches.
And when they say ancestors, just like this movie Becoming couldn't put a name on something, most black folks run around here, we say stuff like kings and queens and ancestors. Put a name on that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Put a name on that shit. That was a doctor, a teacher, a lawyer, a dentist.
I'm glad you said that. One more thing before I end Hotepish history. All that we come from, we was kings and queens. No, nigga. 0.00%, 1% was kings and queens. A lot of you motherfuckers was homeless back then too.
Hey,
so baby, you had scientists, you had engineers,
right?
You had people that tilled the fields, you had sheep herders, you had math teachers, you had a whole basically the same jobs that we have out there right now. You know what I mean?
We were just the best.
We're just the best at it.
Right.
So our history is very deep, and our history goes much deeper than voting for our freedom. We have had freedom in plenty more ways. And put this is where I look at it, Al. My freedom is not up for anybody's vote.
Right.
How about that?
Right.
My freedom isn't up for a vote.
Right.
That's something that we take.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's how this country got started. Right. Revolutionary War. And we helped win that too, Christmas addicts. Every single war that this country's won, we've been the primary backbone behind the wins. And we scared it and saying we can't do it? What? Go ahead, man.
It's like, man, we get caught up, like you said, on these traditions and these feelings. You know, like at some point in time, I've been saying it, man, probably for the last 8-10 years. when somebody asks me my opinion, what has to happen? I mean, we're going to have to kill somebody. Somebody going to have to die. Oh, you thinking violence. I mean, I just gave you the answer.
I ain't say I'm going to do it.
A lot of times I don't like the answer. It's no different than when I was a child and my mom and dad said, we can wear your ass out for you to understand. I didn't like the ass whooping, right? But guess what? It usually was a deterrent, you know.
Yeah.
Like, man,
and here's the thing about...
I'm looking at my phone like, this nigga don't even use lotion. I'm not getting ready to suffer and take the ass.
Hell no. I knew that. The reason why I stayed quiet in class when I was in elementary school, because if I did stay quiet in class, that was going to be my ass.
Right.
You know, that means something. But people are like, I was talking about this earlier on Craig Smith's podcast. Tune in to Craig Smith. You know, y'all know who he is from Roastman. He was on a few episodes back. Tune into that. But I was on his podcast earlier today. People were like, what we gonna do? We got the police. Look, you don't take on a strength that's greater than you. You can't fight the police. They got more guns than you. Right. You can't fight the government. They got tanks. The answer happened in 1992. Damian Football Williams had the answer. What did he do? Y'all be Rodney King ass? All right, I'm gonna get this white truck driver coming through the hood. Right. And then there was other black people. People forget it's like something like 40 some odd white people got killed. Yeah. During the riots. Like dudes weren't going after the police. They were going after other citizens.
They ain't come down, back to South LA till last week.
And look at the result.
Right.
You haven't seen a billy club put upside the head of one black person by the LAPD since Rodney King.
Right.
Because they remember Reginald Denny.
Man, I think what it is black people want this.
Not in LA at least. Other places,
they think this is like gymnastics where you're going to have this beautiful performance followed by a perfect landing. And that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. If somebody's got this leverage on you, they're not getting ready to relinquish it.
No.
They're not.
Why would they? Think about it. If I'm a white person, if I'm white society, we can talk all the shit about them that they want. You know, I don't get into talking bad about other people because black people, we so cold, we ain't got to talk bad about nobody else if we know who we really are.
Right.
But I'm not mad at white people at all. Because if I, over the last 500 years, refined a system that gets the most talented people on earth to give me their talent for free.
For free.
Or an amount of money that's so small it won't add up. I won't even notice it being gone. You know what I mean? Because think about black people and our inventions. Black people invented the elevator. ThyssenKrupp is one of the richest families in the world. The ThyssenKrupp family owns them. That's the elevator company. They wealthy off our inventions.
My great grandfather invented turn signals and windshield wipers on cars.
You know my great grandfather invented the railroad crossing, the automatic railroad crossing in Illinois. Yep. So this here in this room,
right?
You know what I mean?
And that's at a time when black people couldn't get credit for inventions. So he had to sell it to Henry Ford.
Henry Ford brought. Think about Henry Ford. Your grandfather had to sell with Henry Ford. How did Henry Ford get wealthy? He went to George Washington Carver, and George Washington Carver just finished eating some mushrooms, and he was studying a plant, and he saw how plants distribute their resources, and out of studying the plant, he created the modern assembly line. Which is why Ford is the most, because before Henry Ford, there were the Durate brothers who made a better car in America than the Model T Ford. Yeah. What made the Ford take off was George Washington Carver created that assembly line, and he created another thing called the power plant. And these are side inventions that he created.
So basically, Henry Ford was already, when technology caught up to the things that he had already had in place, is when he became who he was. Because he started working on the V8 engine in the assembly line before it even got there. So then when they had the resources to set that up, he'd already had enough shit in place that he was ready.
And on top of that, during World War II, Henry Ford made even more money because he was making the money on the United States end. You know what I mean? But little do we know, he was also making the Jeeps for Nazi Germany. Ooh, people don't like talking about that. Henry Ford made a lot of his money making them Jeeps. He controlled it. I heard a story on Oliver Stone's American History. He said that the bombing in World War II was getting too close to the Jeep manufacturing plants. So Henry Ford put a call in and said, hey, look, y'all bombing too close to my shit. And no more bombs dropped in that part of Germany. That's who America is. And that's who we are as a people. Our inventions undergird everything that we see on top. Right. So if, as a white person, I can get these geniuses to think the best thing they can do in this country is play football or rap. Right. And they'll give us everything else. Would you change that? Hell no, I wouldn't change that. Keep giving it to me, baby. Right. I'm not mad at you, white people. I'm mad at us for not recognizing the game. And I'm mad at Michelle Obama for saying shit like, I'm not mad at Trump voters. I'm mad at our folks. Right. Michelle Obama, half the people that voted for your husband when Trump came around said, fuck this, I'm voting for him because he's white. You ain't mad at that? Half of the LGBTQ rights you passed voted for Trump. Right. A third of the Latinos that got DACA shit from your husband voted for Trump.
It's like only black people think if a white person is LGBTQ, you know all the letters, that they not racist. You know what I'm saying? They think if a white person's at a woman's march that they not racist.
They be every bit as racist.
Yeah, more. We should be, whatever I do, I'm a black man first. I don't give a shit else. I'm a black man first. And that's it. I don't care if the white person's offering me the Taj Mahal.
I'm black first.
I'm black first, and I'm gonna stick with what I got.
Chris Matthews in the chat said Ford was an equal opportunity racist. You right about that. Chris in the chat said they voted for Obama. They voted for Obama as verification for whites to say I'm not racist. That's some real shit, Chris. Yeah. You right about that. Marcel Jackson in the chat said nothing new under the sun. You right about that, Marcel.
That's your brother Marcel.
Yeah, it ain't nothing new under the sun. And so it's just like, you know, when you're right, Chris Matthews. White gays are hella racist. Let me give you an example. J. Edgar Hoover. He was LGBTQ. And look what his ass did. Right. He said the Black Panthers are the biggest threat to national security and let the mafia do what the fuck they wanted.
And ain't none of that been changed.
That's LGBTQ. Let's talk about that. You know what I mean? What's his name? Hell, Abraham Lincoln was LGBTQ. Man. Republican Party. That's what
a whole lot of them.
This is another Hotepish history. Look this up yourself. What is the gay wing of the Republican Party? What do they call themselves? The Log Cabin Republicans. Look this shit up. Don't listen to me. Who was the president who was known to have been raised in a log cabin? Abraham Lincoln. But you know who else Abraham Lincoln is? You know who his mother was? His mother was a Melungeon. You can look all this shit up. It's called The Five Negro Presidents in a book by J.A. Rogers. Yeah. And his mother was a Melungeon. What's a Melungeon? A person that's black, French, and Native American. But that's another story. We can get into that. Our history is like very convoluted. Yeah. It's very, it's like racism. When they say racism is baked in the cake, the biggest reason why racism is such a big problem in the United States is because racism is a family affair. Right. You go back far enough, them white people is your cousins, and they got handed down the land and the resources, and you got told go get a job.
Hey, since we talking about Netflix, that becoming, we gotta name another racist white LGBTQ, and that's that damn King Tiger or whatever.
Oh, the Tiger King.
Tiger King. I enjoyed that.
That's you. I love that.
I enjoyed that because that
them white folks
I was like, this is white. This is some ratchet white folk shit. It ain't no niggas in this.
Hey, that Tiger King was the shit, boy. That motherfucker. He said it was one part. My wife was watching it, and I walked in, and dude said. He said, your wife is a fat whore. I was like,
when that tiger,
you call somebody's wife a fat whore and they didn't shoot you?
When that tiger locked onto his foot and started dragging his ass, I ain't never rooted for a tiger so much in my life. I was like, oh, just start turning this motherfucker's leg. Oh, that was fun.
Man, this is one of the things, man. It's just like, we as a people, we got 5 minutes left. We done talked about the Michelle Obama Becoming documentary. Now, we done talked about a lot of racism. Now, let's talk about some solutions. Let's talk about some ways we can get past this. Why are we bringing this up? And I'm going to let you close out and say a few words after I say this. All right. The reason why we bring this up is because black people, we're always told that we have to stand in the front of the line and be the shield for everybody. Mm-hmm. We got to vote somebody else in because they look like us. We got to go and do these things, fall on the sword for this group because they're oppressed like us. We got to go ahead and lend support for that group because they had a bad weekend. Right. We're always the sacrificial lambs, and this documentary reinforced that. Right. Because when it comes time for us collecting ours for the sacrifices that we make, everyone wants to say, I ain't got the money. Right. And so we as a people, if we need it like that, it's because we're valuable. And when we start using that same value that same support that we give to other groups
for ourselves,
if we turn it in on ourselves,
put our mask on first.
Take care of ours first. We're going to see we're going to be the change that we want to see because we're going to give it to us first. But as long as we give it to everyone else first, we're going to say in whatever situation that we have. And that's just the wisdom that I have from watching that documentary. Go ahead, Al. What you got to say about that?
I forgot what I was going to say.
Is it the weed?
No, we ain't.
We ain't spoken yet.
Yeah, we ain't got to that
as soon as this is over.
I know what it was I wanted to speak on. You remember a little moment in time we were talking about reparations for black folks?
Yes.
And the biggest argument from most black folks I heard was, there's no money to give us for reparations.
Oh.
How can you calculate it? How can you figure out? I'm not going to go in deep on how we can figure it out because we have experts who have given their life to figuring out how that would work.
16 trillion, but go ahead.
And you have black folks talking about, well, wait, we should get free college and free another system, right? Where you have to go through in order to obtain something. Now, however, when we had this coronavirus come through, right?
$1,200 just popped up in your account like.
Look how much money they spending right now to save these corporations and carrying on.
Businesses that don't need the money.
How many niggas done got a PPN loan that have a small business? Now I know there's some niggas out there that gonna say, I have a small business, I'm making $1 million or $2 million. No, we talking about I must be micro. You know, we talking about the mom and pop. We talking about the backbone of this country. We talking about the storefronts. That's what we talking about. We talking about storefront niggas. Any of them got a PPN loan? I filled out one PPN loan, and when they asked me in 150 words or less what I would be needing a loan for and what would I be using it to, I said I didn't know I needed a loan until the Lakers, Ruth Chris, and Shaq or whoever said it.
Shake Shack
or whoever. When they filled out and got millions of dollars, I said if the Lakers need a stimulus, then goddamn it, I need.
You need a stimulus.
I don't know why, but I need one. You know, but look how many they talking about minting $2 trillion coins and carrying on. All this shit that they could have done for us.
And that was the thing.
And we gave reparations to everybody else.
And the money came in record time.
Right.
Like when this shit first popped off, they were talking about Asians or Asian businesses have a bad stigma. Here's $9 billion.
And now you got black folks that want you to stick up for Asian folks because they being mistreated.
And here's what's about it.
I'm like, man, I done ate enough egg rolls and orange chicken carrying on.
They got their reparations when our businesses were kicked out of our own neighborhoods and they were allowed to come and replace them.
Bought all kind of hair wigs and shit from China. Now I got to go fight and hold they nuts too.
Al Green, where can they find you, dog?
Man, follow me on IG at comedian Al Green with an E on the end. And shout out to my friend Chet. She put the E on the end of my name on the flyer. Dewan had me out there as my slave name, you know.
My bad. I gave you the singer Al Green name.
My family when we
you should just inbox me. I would have redid it.
Well, I just put the E on there myself.
Okay, my bad.
Big, I put it on big too.
My name is Dewan. People niggas always leave off the other end, so I know how I feel. I only get one end when other people spell it. But yeah, thank you, Al Green, for coming in. You've been a great guest. I definitely want to have you back Because pretty soon we're gonna be going straight straight online with it. I'm definitely gonna want you in to be part of it.
I'm gonna be back after Trump getting office again. Cause hey, he gonna be your president again. Cause if he got to, he gonna give you niggas 2 stimulus.
Man, but nothing about to come around. But anyway, my name is Dewan B. I want to thank you guys for listening because we hear about solutions. You know, we gotta the biggest thing for this show is we have to recognize our own power and be the solution that we want to see. My name is Dewan B. HotepIsh.com. And remember this: there are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages. For those who are willing to pick up game, we out.
And we love Michelle Obama.